Today on Inquirer. Inflation rate soars to 7.7% in October, the highest recorded in nearly 14 years. Paeng death toll climbs to 154, according to the NDRRMC. A month before the full implementation of face-to-face classes, DOH logs almost 4,000 COVID-19 cases among individuals aged 12 to 17 years old. And gasoline prices are seen to increase next week, diesel and kerosene to roll back. Good evening. For our top story, the Philippines inflation rate rose to 7.7%, the highest recorded rate in nearly 14 years, and is likely to rise further, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. Denisa Fernandez has the full report live. Denisa?
Philippine inflation climbed to 7.7% in October from 6.9% in September, the highest recorded inflation since December 2008. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA today, the headline figure also came in near the top end of the central bank's forecast of 7.1% to 7.9% for the month. Inflation in January to October this year averaged 5.4%, reaching the central bank's full-year target range of 2 to 4%. The statistics agency sees a substantial probability that inflation could increase further in November, partly because of the impact of a recent destructive tropical storm. Following PSA's report, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ordered for continued support to the most vulnerable sectors affected by rising inflation. Office of the Press Secretary Officer in Charge Cheloy Garofil said that the assistance will be in the form of cash transfers and fuel discounts. She added that Marcos is committed to support our farmers and other stakeholders in agriculture in post-disaster recovery, while improving the value chain and investing in climate-smart technologies remain a priority in the medium and long term. Effective management of water resources, Garofil said, will also be prioritized to reduce water-induced damage to lives, livelihood, and property. Marcos also tasked concerned agencies to invest in innovations and technologies to make our communities and businesses resilient amid extreme weather challenges. Garofil also said that the president assured the public that the government continues to monitor inflation and contributing factors and will look for measures to ease its impact on the people. Back to you, Bay.
Denisa, you mentioned that the government is planning to mitigate the effects of this high inflation rate with cash transfers and fuel discounts. How much exactly would these forms of assistance amount to, and also when can these vulnerable communities expect to receive it?
Bay Garfield did not mention any amount for the cash transfers and fuel subsidies. But to recall, in July this year, the Department of Social Welfare and Development started the distribution of a 500 peso cash subsidy. The cash assistance, which will be given for 6 months, will cover 12.4 million households who belong to the low-income families category. As to the fuel subsidy program, in March this year, the Department of Budget and Management released 3 billion pesos for public utility drivers, farmers, and fishers amid soaring fuel prices. Bay?
Thank you, Denisa. That's Denisa Fernandez reporting live. The number of reported deaths caused by severe tropical storm Paeng has risen to 154, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. The NDRRMC's latest situational report showed that 101 of these deaths have been confirmed, while 53 are still up for validation. Most of the deaths reported in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao due to flash floods and landslides in Maguindanao del Norte. Fatalities were also reported in Western Visayas, Calabarzon, Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Socsargen, Mimaropa, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, Bicol Region, Central Visayas, and Cordillera Administrative Region. The NDRRMC also reported a total of 128 injured individuals and 35 others missing. Meanwhile, Social Welfare and Development Secretary Erwin Tulfo has ordered two Calabarzon regional officials removed from their posts following a complaint that additional requirements were being asked from persons seeking aid in the aftermath of Paeng. In a press conference, Tulfo said he was acting on the concerns raised by Mayor Dino Chua of Noveleta, Cavite. According to Chua, the DSWD regional office was requiring many documents from flood victims in his town before they could be given government assistance. However, the flood victims could not immediately produce the documents since most of them were still in evacuation centers. The Department of Health recorded almost 4,000 COVID-19 cases among 12 to 17-year-old individuals a month before the full implementation of face-to-face classes. John Eric Mendoza fills us in with more details. Eric?
Yes, Bay. The Department of Health has recorded a total of 3,939 COVID-19 cases among 12 to 17 years old from September 1 to November 3, or a month before the full implementation of face-to-face classes. This was revealed by Health Officer in Charge Maria Rosario Vergere. However, the DOH said the said infections are not specified to students but rather for individuals aged 12 to 17 years old. Vergere also said that the cases does not originate from the schools, according to the DOH surveillance report. Despite the reported cases among the age group, Vergere said it does not outweigh the benefit of full face-to-face classes among students because the activity, she said, is very essential for mental health wellness of the students. Schools across the country began the full implementation of face-to-face classes on November 2, the first time since blended or distance learning has been implemented in the country due to the pandemic. The Department of Education said schools holding in-person classes should have 100% room capacity and are conducting classes 5 days a week. Wearing face masks in classrooms is now optional in line with the voluntary mask mandate indoors and outdoors ordered by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Okay?
Eric, you did mention that these almost 4,000 COVID-19 cases were recorded among a specific age group. That's people aged 12 to 17 years old. Are we expecting data from the DepEd or the DOH on the specific number of COVID-19 cases recorded in schools?
Yes, actually, the DOH said DepEd has yet to submit its consolidated data on the COVID-19 infections among students. But DepEd, according to Vergere, has committed to submit the data in the following days. Bay?
Eric, the full implementation of face-to-face classes actually started last November 2. How is the DepEd easing the public's fears of a possible spike in the cases recorded in schools?
Yes, while vaccination and face masks are not mandatory for students and teachers, the DepEd has published a memorandum order to require schools to make sure that there's a proper ventilation in the classrooms and physical distancing is imposed. However, this could pose a challenge since schools are now required to have a 100% room capacity since November. So we will see how this would turn out in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Eric. That's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. Pump prices of gasoline will likely increase, while those of diesel and kerosene may go down next week, according to the Department of Energy. Local oil companies are seen raising gasoline prices by 45 centavos to 1 peso per liter. However, they are expected to roll back the prices of diesel by 60 centavos to 75 centavos per liter and by 75 to 85 centavos per liter for kerosene. DOE Assistant Director Rodela Romero said the expected increase in prices of certain petroleum products can be attributed to strong demand in the world market during the winter season and supply concerns due to the continuing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Romero added, rising inflation in most countries, which may lead to a global recession, may dampen demand for oil and petroleum products and result in the lowering of their prices.
Buwan ng Nobyembre ang sinabing production cut na gagawin ng OPEC member countries. at hindi pa rin po naman nasusolusyonan yung geopolitical conflict na nangyayari sa Russia at saka sa Ukraine. So po may pangamba na dahil sa pagtaas ng bilihin, magkakaroon ng global inflation at the same time magkakaroon ng global recession. So kapag nangyari po yun, may chance po bumaba ang demand. So sa pagbaba po ng demand, maaaring bumaba din po yung presyo ng produktong petrolyo.
Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets suspended Kyrie Irving for at least 5 games, saying they were dismayed by the NBA star's response after he was criticized for posting a link to an anti-Semitic material. In a statement, the Nets said they had made repeated efforts over the past several days to work with Irving on the issue to help him understand the harm and danger of his words and actions, which began with him publicizing a film containing deeply disturbing anti-Semitic hate. According to the Nets, Irving will serve a suspension without pay for a period of no less than 5 games until he satisfies a series of objective remedial measures. The Nets announcement came hours after NBA Commissioner Adam Silver expressed his disappointment that Irving failed to apologize for his social media post. Despite Irving and the Nets' announcement of donations to groups working to eradicate hate, Silver pushed for an apology that was not forthcoming. When Irving appeared at a later press conference and said only that he took responsibility for the post. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Ann Therese Arceo ng Bandera. Ann?
Hello, Bay! At hello sa lahat ng kabandera natin all over the world. Narito ang latest chika for today. Nagsalita na nga ang Itbulaga host na si Maine Mendoza patungkol sa mga Aldab fans na hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin nakaka-move on at hindi pa rin matanggap na hanggang magkaibigan lang sila ng on-screen partner niyang si Alden Richards. Sa kanyang panayam kay OJ Diaz, inamin ng dalaga na napagod na siyang mag-explain sa mga ito na hanggang ngayon ay patuloy pa rin kumakapit na may tsansang magkatuluyan sila ng aktor. Bagamat grateful si Maine sa labis na suportang natatanggap niya, ayaw naman raw niyang lokohin ng mga ito para lamang sa pera at sa kasikatan. Aniya, pwede pa rin naman daw mag-entertain ng mga manonood na alam nito ang katotohanan para wala siyang mapaasa o masaktan. Kwento pa ni Maine, may mga fans rin daw na nagsasabing kasal na sila ni Alden at may mga anak na, bagay na wala namang katotohanan. Umabot pa nga sa puntong, si Maine na mismo ang nagsisend ng message gamit ang kanyang Twitter account sa mga fans para i-call out ito, ngunit hindi sila naniniwala at sinasabing admin lamang ng kanyang account ang nagre-reply sa kanila. Sa tingin nga niya ay wala na raw siyang magagawa sa mga taong ito na patuloy pa rin kumakapit na may chance na magkatuluyan sila ni Alden Richards. Sa ngayon naman ay super happy ang TV host sa takbo ng kanyang karera lalo na sa kanyang love life. Matatandaang noong July 2022 nang tuluyan nang mag-propose ang actor-politician na si Arjo Ataide sa kanya sa isang beach resort sa Batangas. Bagamat wala pang petsa, ang pag-iisang dibdib ni Maine at Arjo, sigurado namang inaabangan ito ng mga taong tunay at labis na sumusuporta sa pag-iibigan ng dalawa. At yan nga ang latest chika natin for today. Tutok lang sa bandera para sa mas may init na pasabog at chika tungkol sa showbiz. Back to you, Bay.
Maraming salamat, Ann. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Beatrice Pinlac. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net.